Ah, God. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is Connor, and we are here with a review of which I am so dejected with. I was so hopeful today. A little bit of doubt in me. I did. I'm not going to lie. A little bit of doubt when I was speaking to Mike. If you caught the preview of the game, you'll see that I was a little bit wary of them. But when you're wary of sides in this division and you're a Leeds fan, you get called negative. So let's get into it. Listen, lads and ladies, if I don't laugh, I will cry because that was the worst performance of the season. I'm hearing Southampton and Brighton. By my recollection, Southampton we lost 1-0 and Brighton we drew 0-0. So when we lose 3-0 to a side who've got 9 points in 51, to a side who won one home game in the Premier League since November, to a side who are ravished with injuries as well, to a side who've only had a new manager within a week, to a side who have just got pumped by another side below us 3-1, and we put in a showing like that. It was nothing short of a disgrace. It really was. I am so gutted with that. And the reason I'm gutted with that is because there's so many factors we're going to get into. I've got notes here that I want to talk about the game with the game and get into that. But let me know what your thoughts, guys, please. Sam's come in and just said all these people saying we're too good to go down based off what? Yeah, that's just absolute rubbish. If people are saying we're too good to go down, your heads are in the clouds and you're a bit naive or you're a bit arrogant as a Leeds fan. I will say that because that you're never too big or too good to go down. That's never the case. It's not. You simply have to accumulate those amount of points. West Ham went down with a very, very good team. Newcastle went down with a good team. So that I hate that rhetoric, and I don't want to get this off to a. I was saying I don't want to get this off to a negative start, but it's unfortunately everybody. Preface to anybody who's in here and expecting me to reel out loads of positives, and it's okay, it's fine, it's all right. We've things going forward. It's fine. It's a-okay. Click off the video. Look, I'm prefacing it now. Click off the video. This isn't the video for you. Cloud Dizzle's in the building. Joke of a performance. When we play against the poor side, Bielsa whips out the machine gun and sprays at his own feet. Yeah. Roberts for Rafinha. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into it, everybody. We're going to get into it. Make sure you're liking the video. Hopefully this will be a bit of a cathartic session for you. And listen, I'm going to get off some of my thoughts and then I'm going to get into some of your comments. Keep them getting rolled. Keep the comments rolled in. Initial thoughts. I look at this entire game and I think intensity, because we saw Frank's press conference when you can evidently tell he's bang up for this one, bang up for it. Frank's press conference, we knew he would be. And what do you expect from Everton in terms of Frank going into this one? Well, the last home performance, they won 4-1. So they're evidently trying to make Goodison a bit of a fortress. They were brilliant in that game, shocking away at Newcastle. But we didn't take advantage of that. And they made Goodison a fortress again. The crowd were all on it. We seemed to cower away. Soft tackles going in. I noticed a couple, in my personal opinion, who shied away out of tackles, which nearly made me punch a hole through my wall because you don't shy out of tackles when you play for Leeds United. Donny van der Beek was Don in the midfield. Excuse the pun. Alan was tougher. He was harder. He was up for it. And I expected it. Listen, Frank Lampard's Chelsea side, 4-3-3. They were well up for it against Leeds United. And I remember turning around to my old man on that point and I said, listen, obviously they've got a world-class side, but intensity was something that they found. And what did we know that he was going to do? We knew that they were going to press. We knew that they were going to press from moment one. You got all of Goodison behind you, 40,000 Scousers behind you. And we knew that was going to happen. And we knew DCL was in there as well. The hold-up ball was going to be next, it was going to be held up to him. They were going to try playing in and around him. Richarlison was going to be in and around the second ball with Anthony Gordon. So why, in the first half, are they winning every single second ball? Because for me, second balls are all about football IQ. It's about understanding where the ball is going to drop, perception. And none of that was happening with Leeds United. None of it was happening with Leeds. We were, as I said at the start, we were soft. We weren't interpreting where the ball was going to drop. Dominic Calvert-Lewin was having a field day against our back line. Our back line, by the way, that comprised of two big lads You know, Pascal Struijk, who I thought had a shocking game today, and Robin Koch, who I also thought had a really poor game today. Two lads who can compete with this lad, who's just come back from it from injury. He's been out for a long period of time, and it was flaky. Yeah, go on, Dom. You win the header, lad. I'm like, oh, don't want to give a foul away. No physicality, nothing. Nothing in that first half. That first 10 minutes was a joke. It was an absolute joke. They were on top of us. We couldn't get out. We couldn't pass a ball. Just 3 or 4 yard passes going out for throwing. Luke Ayling, every pass going out for a throw-in. You know, 9 points from 51, this Everton side. You know, the lineup came out and I was worried initially. I really was. You see a midfield two of Click and Rodrigo, and you think to yourself, good God. You know, you really do. There was no defensive midfielder there. Click was acting as a defensive midfielder, and we went ahead with it. There was no pragmatism in the game. It wasn't working. Nothing was changed. Why wasn't it changed by the manager? They were running us down in the midfield. They were pressing. We don't have a press anymore, everybody. Newsflash. This season, there's been no Leeds United press. The press has been completely abandoned. It'll be there, here, there, everywhere. You'll see Dan James pressing from the front, and then every single Leeds fan seems to think we've got our press back because Dan James runs up to the centre backs and presses them. That's not a press. That's not a team unit press. That's just one player. Leeds might move up the pitch. Dan James, you know, is like a terrier in terms of closing the centre backs down. That doesn't mean that we've got a unit. Pressing as a unit, that's gone. But Everton, who've had this manager for 10 days, suddenly they've created a press. They're able to galvanise a press with players out. I've got down here, they've got Damari Gray out. They've got Damari Gray, by the way, is probably the best player at the minute. No Tom Davis, no Mina, no Godfrey, no Delph. So they've got players out, a lot of players out. Mikalenko out. Seamus Coleman's about 39 at right back. Michael Keane's had a shocking season. A shocking season. Looked like Beckenbauer today. Forshaw had to be in the middle. He had to be in the middle. He's got ties with Everton before. He came up in the ranks with Everton. He had to be in the middle. That element of control. We knew DCL and Richarlison were going to be up top. Forshaw had to be in there to offer just protection for the midfield. Wasn't in there. Click and Rodrigo, which we saw all of last season, never worked. Never, ever worked in terms of a physicality standpoint and in terms of a defensive standpoint. It never works. So we're wide open from moment one. And I'm sick of being so wide open. I'm sick of being, even when we score a goal, me not even really getting up and being excited because I know what's coming. Because we leave ourselves so vulnerable every single time. The man marking system is, I can't stand it. I cannot stand this man marking system at the minute. You beat one player, which any top quality team, any quality team in the Premier League can do. You can beat a player, spaces move up. You might get a Luke Ayling been beaten by Anthony Gordon, which was happening in the first half. Robin Koch coming and closing him down. Then Robin Koch loses Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Spaces open up everywhere. Richarlison's got all the room in the world, as has Anthony Gordon. It just opens up all the time. And I just don't get it. It never changes. You know, I just think this team, I'm not a manager, I'm a fan. I've got a fan channel. You guys are in here. I just think sometimes a zonal system with a counter-attacking mindset with this side, like we saw towards the back end of last season in the last 10 games, would work. You know, that I see that. A counter-attacking side with what we've got at the minute. The man-marking system is just so easy to play against. If you're a top side, you press high, you recover the ball, and you open space. And it happened again and again and again and again and again today from a team who's below us. Man, God. Anyway, Click was in the midfield, slow, pedestrian. And it's not just Click. The entire team was slow and pedestrian today. No ruthlessness, no bravery on the ball, no risk taking. Why are we not taking risks? They're below us. They're a poor, poor team. Make no bones about it. Everton aren't going to go on now and win the next, 4 out of 5 games. They're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. But Leeds come into town. You know, they've not won a home game since November. Leeds come into town. Roll out the red carpet. Man. I actually said in the build up to the game I would have preferred Gelhardt over Dan James. Was getting hammered. actually put it out as a post. The reason being is because I knew they were going to press high. So we needed to alleviate that press. Who's the physical player up there? It's Joe Gelhardt. We're going to get into Gelhardt in a little bit, but I believe that Frank Lampard was going to press from the off. So because we can't play out from the back against the press, we have to go long sometimes. Joe Gelhardt is that physicality. The ball hits him. Leeds can get in and around him on the second balls. But there was so much space. What did we see with Villa? There was little triangles. You'd see Rafinha, Rodrigo, James in little pockets. You'd see Harrison. You'd see James. You'd see Click in little triangular pockets, making the way into the final third, into the channels. That was brilliant. That wasn't happening. That wasn't happening at all. They were so far apart that there was no combinations, no patterns, no trends in how Leeds were playing. I'm going to just get a super chat in. Thank you so much, mate. You interrupted my rant here. Subramania. There you go. We don't loan in players, but neither do we play the likes of Gelhardt and Bate, who are better than 2 or 3 players on the pitch today. Yeah, I'd 100% agree. I really would. Thank you so much for your donation, pal. I really appreciate it. And the Gelhardt element, I genuinely believe if we'd have started him up front, he'd have given us a little bit more physicality. As I said, been able to bring players into the game, run at the Everton back line, a completely vulnerable Everton back line without Yerry Mina, without Ben Godfrey, without Mikolenko, without Patterson. Seamus Coleman, everybody. We'll get into it. The first 10 minutes, we should have been 2-0 down. I've seen Mike come in. It's for a Snickers. I don't know what that means. Maybe he's having that for his dinner. Typical Brummy. But listen, the first 10 minutes, they should have been 2 up. Lovely ball in. They're moving Leeds around. I said in the preview, I said that Leeds were going to be able to move Everton around in our forward spaces. It's exactly what Everton were doing against us. And I said it to Mike as well on a conversation. I said, because of the man marking system, Anthony Gordon, who directly runs at players, is going to cause us problems. Caused us problems straight away, was thrown goal within 1 minute 30, scuffed it, should have been 1-0. And Everton just kept coming, peppering our box. Leeds playing the ball out of play every single time, not been able to find the middle ground. The middle ground would have been helped by Adam Forshaw, who wants the ball every single time. He's composed. He has an element of control. Rodrigo and Click. I thought Rodrigo was good in the first half, and I still don't think defensively he was up to it, but going forward he was. But Click, you've got a one-man midfield essentially there because Rodrigo pushes so high. And the manager knows that, everybody. The manager knows that. We've seen that. How many times have we seen that when we've been putting Click and Rodrigo together? That's why we put Dallas into central midfield last season, because he gave us that element of control. But we don't do that. We put 2 attacking midfielders in there. No caution, no element of defensive understanding. And this is what frustrates me so much. It's like, yes, don't get me wrong. We all need to go for the win. We want to win football games, but you've also got to be careful in the Premier League. The Premier League is the best league in the world. We've got to have some understanding defensively. And, you again, man, all respect to Everton. Better team by a country mile today. Fully deserved 3. Should have been 5 or 6, in my personal opinion. That first half, they battered us. Absolutely battered us. 12 shots and 8 on target, everybody. That's normally what you see at the end of a game when a team's been humbled. 12 shots and 8 on target in 45 minutes. I thought they completely bullied us from start to finish, really. And yeah, Coleman goal, the first one. God, I mean, you're actually getting to a stage there where I mean, I presume Jack Harrison's man marking Seamus Coleman. You're getting what, a 22, 23-year-old lad who's been beaten by Seamus Coleman. Coleman speeding up down the wing, getting into the box, showing a lot more intensity, a lot more aggression, wants to get there, gets there. And that's all it was for Everton in the first 10 minutes. There wasn't elements of quality. It wasn't, wow, Everton are a much better side, this, that, and the other. They just wanted it more. They wanted it more. Let's look ahead to our fixtures, everybody. Get those tinted glasses off and let's look at our fixtures now. Man United, who have a free-for-all against Leeds. Liverpool, Spurs. I thought we might be able to get something out of Spurs, to be honest. But after today, when I'm looking at that, Jesus. And then Leicester away, not in the best of form, but of quality players who can override a man-marking system. And with the form we're in at the minute, let me just take you through this, everybody. Villa, Everton, Newcastle, 1 point. Everyone was, even myself, I was extremely happy after the Villa game. Extremely happy after the Villa game in terms of how we came back. But let's be right. 25-minute spell. We let in 3 goals. Villa could have had 4 or 5 in that spell. I thought we were the better team on the night, but in that spell, Villa could have had 4 or 5. We don't learn. It's the same thing, isn't it? Most weeks, teams have so many opportunities against us. And yes, there's a counterbalance there because Leeds can have so many opportunities as well. But there's no sort of understanding of the defensive part of a team being completely. It's been so important to any football side in the Premier League with the quality of players that we have and the injuries we have out and the squad size we have. And do you know what? Genuinely, everybody, there's 366 of you in it. I'll get people coming on tomorrow saying this is overreacting. This is negative. I'll get that. We've just lost 3-0 to Everton. 9 points out of 51. And I'll get people coming back on and saying it's negative. I can't get my head round it. I can't get my head round it. Anyway, Coleman scores 1-0. We didn't adapt at all. I thought at that point there had to be cages in the building as well. All right, mate. You know, I thought when 10, 15 minutes in, we're getting absolutely mauled at this point. Be pragmatic. Change it up. We're all saying it. Everybody's saying it on Twitter, the voice of reason. Everybody's saying it on Reddit, on Facebook, wherever. We're not all stupid. We're not all stupid. We all watch football games. Just because we're not in coaching and managerial roles doesn't mean we can't identify something. We've all spent 25, 40, 50, 60, 8, 9, 10 years watching football. We can all make an observation. We can all have a perception, an interpretation. We're all looking at this game and we're knowing within 15 minutes it needs changing up. It needs changing up. Pragmatism. Alter the midfield. Midfield doesn't get altered. It comes and comes and comes again and again and again. The high press, Lampard's team. I heard Stephen Warnock on co-coms say this press is going to stop. Didn't stop. In the second half, even, listen, they stopped off a little bit, but you were still getting the front three pressing our back line because it was so flimsy. I thought Rodrigo was good going forward. Obviously, he hit the bar twice. I will say this. I will say this completely off the bat, everybody. If we'd have gone in and we'd have got a goal in that half, no, you know, like with Villa when we went in 3-1 down, when we probably didn't deserve it over the span of the half, even though we got battered for 20, 25 minutes. Similarly to this, Everton wouldn't have deserved that because they deserved more goals and we were just appalling. So 2 brilliant strikes from Rodrigo hit the bar. On another day, they go in. Obviously, we saw Dallas go off. Yelder came on, who I thought was all right. I thought he did okay. Still wayward. And I do think, you know, listen, he's a young lad. I'm not going to get on his back, but his passing was poor as well. He was getting into positions at points and it was going out of play. You know, you were scraping at the barrel. We're scraping at the barrel for positives. We really are. I'd tell you what another positive is Rafinha's hat. That was it. I liked his hat on the bench. You know, that's it. As I've got down here, Everton committed to a press. Why don't we commit to a press anymore? You've got Holgate at the back, who's a red card in waiting. Michael Keane, who runs through treacle and is a poor football player. Seamus Coleman, who's nearly got his bus pass. And a left back who was left back for Everton. I don't even know. Everybody thought that it was going to be Townsend. It wasn't Townsend. Obviously, they played a 3-4-3 system, I think. So, yeah, I don't even think there was. It was Kenny, wasn't it? John Joe Kenny. So we've had 2 weeks on the bounce where we've had John Joes have good games against us. We've had John Joe Shelby and now John Joe Kenny. John Joe Kenny, who's out of favour at Everton, by the way. He's been out of favour since he started at Everton. Everton committed to a press. Leeds didn't commit to any sort of press. And I've said this earlier on. They've had a week, everybody. A week to 10 days with an absolutely battered squad, Everton, similarly to ours, and they've probably got more quality overall, especially when you look at the bench and you're seeing someone like Dele Alli on there, you're seeing Andre Gomez on there. They've got more quality on the bench, granted, but the starting 11 has still been hampered by injury. So they've had to move parts around. So I'm hearing that it's difficult to cultivate a press. That's what I'm hearing on the social media sites. That's what I've always understood. A press takes time. A team needs to learn a press. So why on earth are they doing it from moment one and we can't cultivate any sort of press on a back line which is slow, lethargic and ancient? We just seem to cower away today. We're timid. We're scared in the tackle. We're soft. It's almost like they just didn't understand the importance of this game. This was a massive game, everybody. Maybe not a must win. Maybe not. Okay. I think it was a must win because I think at Villa and Everton, with the games coming up, we had to get 4 points. We've come away with 1 point. Okay. But going into that game with that mindset and starting the game, like we should have been fired up. Why are we not fired up? Why are we not ready to get at them with a press? Why are we not ready to get at them with intensity? Why is it just Lampard doing it to our side? How's he got them up for that? Second goal. God. Second goal. Um, 11 set piece goals conceded now. Needed looking at last season. It was looked at a little bit. And Leeds improved slightly there. But I mean, what a ball in from Anthony Gordon, nodded in by Keane. You've got Robin Cott, you've got Llorente, and you've got Strauch in a line, bullied, absolutely bullied by Michael Keane. You know, so easy, so easy. 2-0. Game dead and buried. It was. You could tell with the pattern of the game, at least in the Villa game, we'd had opportunities and we actually went 1-0 up. But the difference with the Villa game, everybody, and this is where you can beat a Bielsa side: intensity, pressing on the wingers, and pressing on the fullbacks. They're the three components of beating a Bielsa side, especially when you've got quality. Villa did not do that. And Gerrard alluded to that in the post-match. He said we didn't commit to a press. They almost went to a mid-block, a low block in parts. Everton committed to a press. And they mauled us. And that's exactly what happened with Chelsea. Better players, of course. Chelsea, that's exactly what happened with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge with Lampard's side. He committed to a press early on, wasn't scared about Leeds getting past the press, and they bullied us. And obviously, they've got world-class players, European champions, but you can see the ideology, the philosophy of what Lampard was doing, and they did it to an extent at Ellen Road as well. You forget everybody. It got to a point at Ellen Road when Everton came to Ellen Road. I came on here. Everybody agreed with me as well in stages. It was bits and bats. Leeds in that Everton game could have been 4-1 down at one point. 46 goals now conceded. 46 goals now conceded by Leeds United. I think that's now joint with Norwich. Obviously, Norwich have still got to play Man City, which probably won't look good for them. But these goals are creeping up now, and the amount we're conceding. Alex Iwobi. Let's talk about Alex Iwobi, everybody, because he seems to have a revitalization against Leeds United. Once again, it's probably due to the man marking system, and if you can beat your man, you look better anyway, don't you? If you beat your man, create space, and are able to link up with the forward players. But Alex Iwobi at Ellen Road, I thought he was very, very good. Should have scored. And it happened again. Alex Iwobi is looking world class against Leeds. He's a poor footballer. And then we move into the second half. Everton chilled a little bit, but for me, there was still a decent press from Everton. They didn't need to do much. Leeds didn't create anything. What did we do today? We had a Dan James shot, didn't we? Which was another bad decision. Jack Harrison on one side where he could have got a decent cross in, whipped it, went out for a throw in. Hot and cold Harrison. Rodrigo in the bar twice. Anything else? Did we cultivate anything apart from moving side to side, then losing it? No bravery at all. If Everton are committed to beating their man, why can we not be committed to beating our man? Why can that not happen? Why can we not get Click, trying to dribble past Donny van der Beek? Why can we not have Rafinha trying to dribble past John Joe Kenny? Why can we not have Dan James get the ball on his feet and try and beat Keane on the floor? Someone who's running in treacle and about who's 6'5", and he's been poor for Everton all season. Why are Everton able to do that, but we're not able to do it? A team devoid of any confidence and are just going into this game with a little bit of passion. And as I've said to you at the start, this will not be a galvaniser for Everton. In my personal opinion, Leeds were shocking today. Everton deserved it. They 100% did. This will be no galvaniser for them. Leeds were just shocking. Absolutely awful. And fair play to Everton for that. Now, what happened in the second half? Well, Rafinha was taken off. I thought he was better. I'm seeing online that he was shocking. He was this, that, and the other. But he dribbled inside a couple of times, some nice switches out wide. He transitioned the play quite nicely. He wasn't Rafinha. He's not been at Rafinha levels for a couple of games now. You know, he's not scoring enough for us. He's not, obviously I put something out on Twitter in terms of his last 4 games before this one. He's not scored a goal. So that's unusual. He hasn't scored in 5 now. But Rafinha was all right. I don't understand this. I'm not understanding this sort of bashing of Rafinha. He's not at his levels. Of course he's not. He's not at that peak, that pomp, which you've expected so much. But do you go into a second half when you're chasing a game and bring Tyler Roberts on for Rafinha? System-based, I understand it, because Roberts can link the midfield to attack. I understand that. And guess what, everybody? The gap from midfield to attack was absolutely gargantuan. It was gigantic. So I understand that from a technical perspective, but you don't take your best player off. You don't take your best player off. I'd have taken him off the other night. See, I thought he was really, really poor the other night. He really was. But I thought he was all right. He was fine. Absolutely fine. You do not take him off. Takes him off. And we all know the substitution that should have happened at halftime. The substitutions, I should say, at halftime that should have happened. Raf came on. Roberts came on. Same stuff every single time. Favorites, Forshaw comes on. Fair. Click comes off. Should have happened in the first half for me. But then you look at those 2 substitutions, and you might say that Leeds have got more control in midfield, but you look at it, Leeds have gone more defensive. You've taken Rafinha off for Roberts, who technically is a little bit more further back in the midfield in terms of linking the midfield and the attack. And then you bring a defensive player on for Click. So you substitute on really a 6 for an 8. When you're chasing the game, I think system-wise and personnel-wise, it should have been different at the start. But when you're chasing a game, those are subs that you bring on. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a tough one to take, that. A real tough one to take. Why it's just never been rectified in game as well. And just the same substitutions. Now, for me, you look at this and I've been talking about a system change instead of being more, in terms of being more zonal and being counter-attacking. That's what I think we need to do, especially in the games against the big boys, which we've got coming up. You go man for man against Man United, you're going to get battered. People won't like that. They'll have a day off from this. They'll feel better in the morning, come back and tell me that it's a negative point of view having that. Man for man is set up for Manchester United. You play man for man against them, we're getting absolutely battered. The exact same with Liverpool. Not being negative, realism. We're getting battered. They are better players who can surpass our players in the man marking system. So surely you go 2 banks of 4 and then go counter-attacking with the quick players that we have, which we saw cause nightmares for Aston Villa when the players did sit in a little bit and were pragmatic within the game and went long to Dan James and Jack Harrison. Martin's in the building. It's just Groundhog Day. Everton did a Leeds on Leeds. Yeah. I mean, the Leeds on Leeds, mate, would sort of, thanks for the donation, but that almost would insinuate that Leeds do the press and Leeds batter teams and this, that, and the other, and Leeds have a full 90 minutes. All those things I don't think we've had this season. I don't think there's a press from Leeds United consistently at all. I don't think we've battered a team for 90 minutes at all, which Everton did to us today. And I don't think I've seen the intensity that from Leeds that Everton put on us today for a full 90. But yeah, for me, that system change, it won't happen. But I just think that this man for man against top quality teams, we need something, everybody. That's the realism now. That is the realism. We can't now, because we've got 1 point out of Villa, Everton and Newcastle. You cannot be going into the next 4 games and losing the next 4 or even the next 3. I think we need to pick something up. We need to pick something up. This notion that there are 3 teams worse than us all the time and that giving people confidence. Teams below us are picking up points, everybody. Teams below us are picking up points consistently. They really are. You look at the points per game in the last 4 or 5 of some of the teams below us, it's miles better than ours. Miles better. And they will actually go into a zonal system. They will actually put a lot of emphasis on defending. They will. Every team below us will put an emphasis on defending and going into games and trying to nick it 1-0, which when you're in a relegation dogfight, sometimes you have to do. You have to do. It can't always be beautiful football and playing this style of football in a relegation battle. You've got to grind in. You get in the trenches. Um, but yeah, guys, I'm gonna get into some of your comments anyway. Man City 1-0. Oh, there's a positive. Man City 1-0. Mike's in the building. Should that have happened for you in January for you guys? That's something that little extra. Yeah, I mean, you look at it now, and even the options off the bench when he's bringing Roberts on, and that's his first option. That's just triggered something in my mind actually of what I wanted to talk about. But when he's bringing Roberts on as the first port of call, listen, he's been. I'm sick of players being decent and helping the system. I want quality players in this side. I want players who are going to be able to turn games. I want players who are going to be able to win matches. I want depth. I want a £30 million player on the bench. I want a £20 million player on the bench. I'm sick of just going round and saying, well, he's decent. He's decent. Puts up good numbers. Runs a lot. So frustrating. KG, Norwich have a shot on target versus Man City after 28 minutes and we couldn't muster one versus Everton. Yeah, and KG will know I stuck my neck out on the line and said Norwich could get out of it when Dean Smith came in. Was laughed out the building because Norwich was shocking at the time. But, you know, you muster up something, you organise yourself defensively, which Eddie Howe's Newcastle have done as well, by the way. You know, they've been able to do it with a lot of financial means. Targets come in. Dan Burns going to be coming in. Obviously, Kieran Trippier at the back as well. That's sorting out a whole defensive line. It's sorting out a whole defensive line and spurring confidence within the ranks as well. What have we done? You know, teams are strengthening at the back. Teams below us are strength. You know, we know Burnley is strong at the back. I think Burnley are down, but at least they're able to grind results out against the big boys and get points on the board. I just think we run so much of a risk playing this style of football in the precarious position we're in, and we ran so much of a risk in January. And it's all well and good people talking about what's happening in the summer, what rebuild's going to happen in the summer, if Bielsa goes, if Bielsa stays, all this sort of stuff. We need to get to summer, everybody. We need to get to summer. And there's too many people who've got these blinkers on and are looking at teams below. I see tweets, people laughing at the teams below us. Laughing, look at this result, look at this result, look at this result. Best believe you'll see Leeds fans laughing at Norwich right now for losing to Man City. They go on to lose 4-0 to Man City. They'll be laughing at them. As if we're in this position of safety and we're all right, we're cool, we're lead. We've just been battered by a team who are below us who are also injury ravaged. Gelhardt. Let's touch on it, shall we? Joe Gelhardt doesn't get on the pitch at all. Tyler Roberts comes on ahead of him, and you know, we've had no focal point at the start. As I said at the beginning of the video, I think Gelhardt should have started because of Everton's press, because of Lampard's press, what they were going to put on us. We needed an out ball. Gelhardt just doesn't come on, and you need a goal. You're chasing it. Be pragmatic within the game. Bring Forshaw on. You know, if you want to take Rafinha off, fine. Put Dan James out wide, stick Gelhardt up top. We all know it. Put the fear of God. He's from that part of the world. Put the fear of God into Everton in terms of we know what he's like. An aging back line where Gelhardt can pick the ball up and run at them. Bring players into it. But no. Safe option. Favourites. Roberts again. Gelhardt will leave if he has any sense. I've just seen from Alan Ball. But this is the thing, isn't it? It's the pathway. It's the pathway. You're looking at Tyler Roberts coming on ahead of you, but you've had more goal involvements in a thousandth of the minute time, 100th of the minute time that Tyler Roberts has. Gelhardt's looking at that. He's thinking, what is going on here? What can I do to start? And he'd have been chomping at the bit to come on today. A lot of people saying he was actually a Liverpool fan coming up against Everton. I know he was in the Everton ranks when he was younger. He might not have been a fan. If we were offered DVD, it's absolute madness not to have taken him. We need quality. Getting up to Bielsa ball speed, quality on loan. I agree, mate. Yeah, I mean, it's just madness. It's madness, and they've shot themselves in the foot. And you know, there is a real likelihood, everybody. Oh, it's negative. So get them in now if you are going to say that. But there's a real possibility right now that Leeds United go. We've just had 3 games now: Villa, Everton, Newcastle, where we've picked up a point. There is a real possibility right now that we go 1 point in 7 games. And there's still people saying there are 3 teams worse than Leeds. It needs to be a wake-up call, everybody. There really does. Leeds are in trouble. And it worries me that we put in a performance like that against a fellow relegation rival and we were battered. How can that fill you with confidence? Fed up Connor, tired legs from Villa and changes should have been made. Yeah, I agree, Mike. It was evident they were tired. It was, but I still think, that standard of performance was not good enough. It was not good enough. Apparently we're the fittest team in the league. We still had 4 days to recover. Seeing some of your comments. Just need to survive the season, sell a few, and rebuild. Nix, I agree with you, mate, but I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I don't see. Can you genuinely say to me that you think, with the patterns and the trends that we see with the players picked, the contracts given out, the family vibe, can you really see 5 or 6 players being shipped out, which needs to happen, or them being told that they're going to have bit part roles on the bench, needs to happen, and you can see 4 or 5 coming in, which is what Leeds need, really, isn't it? Sustain another season. So push on. If you want another relegation scrap, fair enough, we'll bring 2 in, because it's going to be a relegation scrap. I look long term as a Leeds fan, it's going to be a relegation scrap. But if you bring 4 or 5 players in, potentially 5 or 6, and 4 or 5 are told either they're going or they're going to be on the bench next season, and we push on. But can you really see a rebuild happening with this current system that we have? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. We did it in the Premier League when we came up and we needed to bring bodies in. But I'm seeing this all the time. It's going to happen. It's going to, based on what? Based on the transfer windows recently. The last 2 have just been shoddy when there's been an argument that we've needed to build to then go into a rebuild smoothly, a smooth transition. Only player that can hold their head up high is Rodrigo. 100%, completely agree. Stop being so pessimistic. We have a decent points cushion on bottom 3. Who knows what happens in the next 4 games? Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Good game today, and yeah, we'll pick up probably 8 or 9 points in the next 4. Listen, I respect an opinion. But what I can't stand is this jibe of it being pessimistic. What on earth is being pessimistic? I'm just pointing out what is happening. It's factual. It's based on results. It's based on formations and systems which keep being played. That's objective. I don't know what's pessimistic about that. We've just been beaten 3-0 by a side below us, battered by a side below us, ravished with injuries. A team who've got 9 points out of 51, and I'm being pessimistic. I don't know. Maybe I just need to. I need to. The cage is laughing in the building. I need to just give this stuff, don't I? I need to give it up. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm too negative. Whatever. Connor, this is I do avoid this because I don't like this question really. Do you still trust in Bielsa? Oh dear. I'm questioning it more, and I think that's fair for me to say. I'm questioning it more and more and more because my chairman has set me out expectations of battling for the top 6. And if we want to be anywhere near the top 10, anywhere near the top 12, you can't do it on a 20-man squad. Is Bielsa going to change? Steven Gerrard came out and said that you have to have a massive squad to be competing for the top 8. Gerrard said that last week. Villa, with the squad that they have, are still 10 points off 6th. Come on, people. I'm not saying I've lost trust, but what's the long-term vision? If it is to just stay in the division for the next 2 or 3 years, then okay, that's fine. I'm with that. That's okay. But if we want to progress and we want to move on, this small squad thing, this square peg round hole thing, this favourite family vibe thing, It's got to move on. And will it move on? Do you realistically see it moving on? That's my question to you. That's my rebuttal, Andy. Do you see it changing? Because I'm still seeing the same patterns week in, week out. Great fight back against Villa. It was a great fight back. So do I trust in Bielsa? Yes, but I think that he's a brilliant manager. I think that he's able to get so much out of these players, but I just don't know if this way of being fits with the board's expectations, which they keep coming out and conveying to fans. Um, so I'm not for one saying Bielsa out of course, because I genuinely don't believe that, but I just think that there is some serious questions on what Leeds are doing moving forward in terms of what's the plan, what's the idea going forward. Um, right, everybody, I'm gonna read a couple more out and then I'm gonna leave it there because I don't want to depress you even more. I apologise. Sujal, long-term subscriber. Bielsa is never going to change. Happy birthday, by the way, Sujal. Your son got in touch with me, and I was lines of communication were phased, mate. But happy birthday for whenever it was. Bielsa is never going to change, and I think the board are too scared to challenge him. Hence the situation, January transfer window, the situation we're in. We are in a situation, Sujal. I completely agree. I love this as well. Top lad, proper clobber. MW always comes in with the proper proper clobber stuff. Do you think we'll go down, Connor? There's a chance if things don't change. A real chance. Today really worried me. It really worried me. Guys, I'm going to leave it. I don't want to depress you more. I really don't. I'm depressed myself. I hope it's been a bit cathartic. We've had a little bit of a chat, haven't we? I hope it's been okay for you. Listen, I respect all opinions. Of course I do. Sometimes I just get a little bit vexed when your opinion is put to the side because it's classed as negative or pessimistic. And I'm sure my man Cagey can attest to that. I just try look at it objectively. I'm so buzzing when we win. I'm the happiest person when we win. I think if you're a negative fan, you find faults and you find constant pessimism even when you win. I'm not. I'm the happiest fan on the face of planet Earth when we win. And I need to be brought down sometimes. But as I've said so many times before, if we lose and we lose badly, I will call it out. And I'm a long-term fan. I'll always look at the long-term project with Leeds. And maybe that's why I'm a little bit more critical sometimes, because I look at the long term. It's not about the short term. And I don't get it at the minute. I don't get what's going on. Anyway, have a good one. Try to get over it. Do something else. Go for a nice walk. Honestly, I'll see you guys soon. We'll be back with a debrief, which I'm sure will be a tasty one. KG, I'm depressed now. Cancel the team. We'll be back on Monday, guys. As you know, keep smiling, and I'll see you.